This is Kris executing Ragulan's plan. The goal is to determine a plan that allows two exponential functions, when divided, will create another exponential that meets these requirements. The new exponential function is decreasing. The new exponential function undergoes a horizontal stretch, and the y-intercept of the new exponential function is a multiple of 3. So first he said to make the base negative or rational. So here he gave you a choice, because both of these cases lead you to a decreasing function. So here I chose to make my base rational. Steps 2, he said make the a value horizontals or vertical translations a multiple of 3, because since in his plan he said that how the a value is the y-intercept only if there is no horizontal or vertical translation. So to meet requirement 3, one of the values must be a multiple of 3. And that's what I chose here. I chose my a value to be 3. Here it shows the a value. The h or the c can all be multiples of 3. That's what he said in his plan. And I chose to make the a value multiple of 3. Step 3. Make the bases the same, because it would be easy to divide. He actually said this in his plan, and that's the only thing. But when you say that, you're actually saying that you wouldn't challenge yourself to try the harder stuff. But I just went with his plan and made the bases the same. Well, he also put in a point and said, I say should because you can sometimes use exponent laws to manipulate the expression to make two of the same bases. So he knows this is easier, but he also knows there's a more difficult way. So he's just giving it as an example. Well, he's just telling you this is easier to do. And I chose 1 over 3 because that's what he said to do. Choose a rational base to have a decreasing function. Step 4, make the exponent a rational in order to have a stretch. But he said to make the x value a rational number. And the x value is the input. That can't be a rational number. I know from experience, because I've done this, he means the k value. But in his plan, he actually said the x value over here. He said x value. And that, I'm not going to mark him that hard, but I know what he's talking about to make the k value rational, but he said x value, so that would probably be communication marks docked. But if I do the x value here as what he said and then follow through with his plan, it would totally fail at this step, just because he just said the wrong thing as a rational number when it should be the k. He said x, but for just following through with the plan, I'm just gonna set the k as my rational values that I choose. And the only big problem I have with this plan, but other than that, it's just pretty good. Step 5, divide the two equations. So the two equations that you made, divide them. This is where you see I set the k values of the things instead of the x's. If I had originally kept the x's as the rational numbers, just the k would be left, and that would help us in no way, because you can't, if you have a set x already, you can't figure out and you don't know your k, you can't figure out the y-intercept, you can't figure out anything else. So this wouldn't help us. So I just set the k as my rational numbers, and then got my new equation by simply dividing this. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Quarter, this is dividing powers with the same base, which means you just subtract the exponents, and I got that number, 1 over 4x. And then now, he said, now you have your final equation. Now you have to check if all 3 conditions are satisfied. The first condition is satisfied. First requirement is met because the base is a rational number, which means it's a decreasing function. The second, our parent function is rational, This is what he actually said in his plan. I'm kind of confused on what that means. Our parent function doesn't he mean? I think he means the up here the k value is rational, so you would have a horizontal stretch. Well, he said parent function is rational. This is just a little bit confusing language, but other than that, I think for me, I know what he means. The k value has to be. He's talking about the k value instead of a parent function is rational. And then lastly, he said to check the y-intercept, sub in x as 0 and the y-intercept should be a multiple of 3. I'll do that right now. Yes, it is 3, and 3 is definitely a multiple of 3. So then he is correct. And this is his plan, but otherwise, it's just this big flaw here in the communication that would crash his plan.